The way I see the debate is very simple. It's an opportunity where for 90 minutes, Governor Walz and I are going to debate the issues that matter to the American people.
And welcome back to our special coverage of tonight's only scheduled vice presidential debate right here on CBS News.
As you just heard, JD Vance is hoping tonight's debate won't be one of personal attacks and barbs, but one where the candidates discuss the issues that matter. I suppose we could all hope for that.
Indeed. And joining us now to discuss some of those issues is Republican Senator from Alabama, Katie Britt. Senator, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
So nice to see you. I appreciate you letting me be on.
One of the interesting notes in our polling, too, actually, one is that JD Vance faces an uphill climb when it comes to likability. The Republican Party right now is facing a wide gender gap. I know you were tasked with giving the response to the State of the Union. You have been talking about these issues. First, are you concerned about this gender gap for Republicans? And do you think that JD Vance tonight needs to make up ground with women?
No, listen, I know JD both as a person and as a colleague. I have loved getting to know him and Usha. When you get to know them as people and parents and get to know their heart and what they're doing this for, I think when the American people get to see that tonight, they're going to fall in love with JD Vance and his passion for the nation and what he stands for and who he's fighting for. When you look at supposed gender gaps, obviously you see in some of the recent polling, women on one side, and then you see men more strongly supporting on the Republican ticket. I think when we start to talk about the issues, when we talk about policy and where we are, securing our border, having safer streets, I mean, you look at what's happening abroad. Right now, guys, there is chaos in every corner of the globe. And I think when we talk about those issues, we talk about that, I think those gaps close because ultimately at the end of the day, when you look back to President Trump's record, he was strong when it came to creating jobs for women. It was the largest number of women in small businesses, the largest number of women in the workforce. He worked diligently to make sure that federal employees had paid leave. I mean, you can look at a number of issues where that matters. Been working diligently on child care issues, amongst a number of other things. You mentioned earlier State of the Union. You know, Stead said before then and continued now, strong supporters of IVF. There has been no stronger supporter of IVF than President Trump. And I think when we get down to the facts and we tell the American people where we are, I think that gap closes. And I think tonight they'll get to know JD Vance. And I think he'll also expose the truth about Kamala Harris, the truth that I believe that the media hasn't done up to this point.
You serve with Senator Vance in the Senate.
Yeah.
Both of you are, in essence, in the youth caucus, right?
That's the truth.
Barely in or just in your 40s.
That doesn't take much, though. You do know that. Like, yeah. I think the average age of the U.S. Senate, it was told the other day, is like 67 or 68. Obviously, JD and I fall on the other end of that. But we're proud. Do. We're representing a new generation of leaders, the next generation stepping up and fighting to preserve the America we know and love for our kids.
What is it about him as a senator that maybe voters haven't seen that gives us some sense of how he would serve in the role as vice president and as head of the Senate?
Yeah, so
one of the jobs they'd have to
there are a number of things. Look, JD is unafraid to do hard things. No matter what the task in front of us, he digs in and he gets to the bottom of it. He doesn't accept the common answer. He wants to understand why it's a problem, get to the root of it, and figure out an actual solution. When you look at everything he did, particularly, let's rewind to when we had the failure of Silicon Valley Bank, Signature, and then the acquisition of First Republic. JD was first out of the gate to say these executives can't keep these bonuses and this additional pay that they got. The American people deserve better. He fights for everyday Americans. So whether it's that or what you saw him do, obviously, with the tragedy that occurred there in Ohio, he's there to make sure that the American dream is available and ready for every person across this country. He wants to change and close the gap between the have and the have-nots, and he's unwilling to to speak truth to power. And you'll see that tonight. He is brilliant, too, and his ability to know the issues and then fight diligently for a solution that puts American people first, I think, is ultimately what our country needs. Because if you look at us right now, we've had 3.5 years of Kamala Harris's leadership. And there is no way that she can answer that question, are you better off? She's refused to answer it 3 times. I think you'll see Tim Walz refuse to answer that tonight because the truth is we're not. Our border is less secure. Our streets are less safe. And look at the chaos across the globe. We need real leaders, and JD Vance and Donald Trump are the leaders that we need.
Quick policy question on the economy. Donald Trump has proposed tariffs on a lot of things as a way to pay for some of his proposals. Mitch McConnell says he doesn't like that plan of tariffs. Donald Trump has said that he can go around Congress, and he doesn't care what Congress says. He wants to go around them. Are you comfortable with that?
Look, I take my Article 1 responsibilities very seriously and certainly want to make sure that Congress does a better job of actually doing our job. If you look at what we've done under Chuck Schumer, we haven't even passed any appropriations bills. Not even one has been put on the floor this year. Guys, that's completely and totally ridiculous. The American people deserve better. So, yes, I want to see Congress more engaged. But look, when you look at Donald Trump and JD Vance, what they want to do is put American workers back in business. They want America to build again. They want us to increase our manufacturing. They look at what happened during COVID, and they know we must secure up our critical supply chain. I mean, look at what you're seeing right now. You've got Putin's aggression into Russia. You've got Israel and the Middle East actually on fire. And you have Xi Jinping saying, it's not an if, but a when I take Taiwan. So when we look at the fact that we get majority of our critical minerals from China, when we look at the fact that so many of the things, whether it be pharmaceuticals or others, are made in different places, JD Vance and Donald Trump know we have to onshore these opportunities to protect the American people. So as they work to build America back up, it's about creating jobs and opportunity for people who live here and ultimately for a stronger economy and a stronger America.
Senator, we have to go, unfortunately, but we're former congressional reporters. You're a former Senate appropriations staffer. We're going to nerd out about the appropriations process.
I would love to. It's my favorite thing to do because I am on a mission that we are going to get this place back working. The last thing I will say on that, you know, it has been 30 years since we passed all 12 bills individually and on time.
It's a problem.
That is a problem. Every time we pass the buck, it costs the American people more money. And so it's time for us to do our job, do what everyone sent there, make hard decisions and do hard things. And I'm ready for it. And I know JD Vance is, and certainly Donald Trump's done it before, and he's going to do it again.
Speaking of money, we got to go make some. So we appreciate you being here. Alabama Senator Katie Britt, thank you so much.